What if one of Jamie Fraser's deepest childhood wounds has never been what it seemed? What if the story he carried his entire life, the death of his first brother, Willie, was never the full truth? For generations of fans, Willie's loss has been accepted as a tragic fact. But when we look closely at the series, the books, and the strange way Outlander treats death, a new and unsettling possibility appears. Maybe Willie didn't die. Maybe he vanished. And maybe that disappearance is tied to the same mystery that has shaped Claire's entire life. In the previous theory, we explored the idea that William Henry Beauchamp, the baby born from Claire's parents' time travel accident, could be the very same boy the Frasers once knew as Willie. Today we go further. The question becomes bolder, riskier, and far more emotional. Even if these boys are the same child, what proof do we have that Willie actually died? And what if the truth matches Claire's own opening line in the series? People disappear all the time. This theory does not break what Outlander has already shown. Instead, it lives right between the gaps. And Outlander loves to hide its secrets in the quiet places, in what is not said, not shown, not remembered clearly. If you enjoy exploring these hidden corners of the story, stay with me. The path we're about to follow might change everything. You thought you knew about Jamie's childhood grief. To understand how this theory holds together, we need to look at Willie's death through 3 different angles: what the series and books explicitly say, and what they strangely avoid showing. What smallpox was actually like in the 18th century. Outlander's repeating pattern of characters who are believed dead but are actually lost in time. Let's begin with what we think we know. Willie Fraser appears in Jamie's biography as the eldest child of Ellen and Brian, heir to Lallybroch, born long before Jamie. Every version of the story, from Jenny's memories to Jamie's quiet sadness, tells us the same thing. Willie died young after falling ill with smallpox. This loss shapes the entire Fraser family. It comes before Ellen's death, before Robert's death, before everything that later breaks Jamie's world. In the books, Willie's death is treated as historical fact. A smallpox outbreak spreads through the region. He becomes sick, and the household goes into mourning. There is no debate, no suspicion, no alternative explanation. But the series handles this differently, and that difference is important. We never see Willie ill. We never see a funeral. We never see a body. Outlander is not shy when it comes to portraying childhood suffering. We've seen Fate's heartbreaking story, dangerous births, sick children, and more. Yet Willie's death is never shown. It exists only through spoken memories. And when Jamie speaks about him, he does not describe what he personally witnessed. He speaks with love, grief, and longing, but never says he saw the sickness himself. Never says he stood at the burial. Never says goodbye in a concrete way. He simply knows what he was told as a boy. This alone doesn't prove anything. But in a world built on time travel, a world where memories can be incomplete and history can be bent, the silence around Willie's final moments becomes a noticeable gap. Did Willie die the way Jamie believes? Or did Jamie grow up holding a version of the story that was never fully his own? To explore this, we need to step outside fiction and look at smallpox as it existed in the 18th century. In that period, smallpox was one of the leading causes of childhood death in Britain. Its arrival in a home triggered immediate fear. Families isolated the sick person in a room, burned bedding and clothing, and restricted movement in and out of the house. There were no hospitals dedicated to infectious disease in rural Scotland. Treatment was limited to comfort measures. The child's survival depended on luck, variolation. The early method of inducing mild smallpox to create immunity existed by the early 170s, but was extremely risky, controversial, and rare in rural communities like the Highlands. As for a real vaccine, it didn't appear until 1796. In Willie's lifetime, smallpox was a threat with no solution. So yes, children often died. But that very harshness also creates space for desperate choices. When a child was believed to be dying, families might try anything. Outlander has already shown this clearly through Brianna and Roger's decision to take Mandy through the stones to save her life. They believed the 18th century would kill their daughter. Time travel became a medical escape, a last hope. Now imagine Ellen or Brian facing their child's apparent death. If they believed that nothing in their world could save him, would it be completely impossible for them to turn to something unknown, something unpredictable, something like the stones? Before going deeper into that possibility, it's important to return to Outlander's core theme. People don't just die, they disappear. Claire grows up thinking her parents died in a car accident, but the audience knows what really happened. Julia and Henry survived the crash, reached Craig Na Dun, and crossed through the stones. To Claire, they died. To us, they simply left their time. The same thing happens with Roger's father. Roger spends most of his life believing his father died in the war. Later, the truth emerges. He traveled through time and was lost in another era. This pattern appears again and again. A person is presumed dead. No body is found. Later, the story reveals that they simply moved through time. That exact pattern surrounds Willie's death. No flashbacks, no body, no eyewitness description from Jamie, just a family memory that smallpox took him. Now the question shifts. Is this truly a death or something that only looked like one from the outside? Imagine Willie was seriously ill. Maybe someone, Ellen, Brian, or another family member believed the stones might offer a chance. It would be a desperate act, but Outlander's world is full of desperate acts. Brianna and Roger risked their lives with a baby. Young Ian risked everything for the woman he loved. Claire risked time itself for Jamie. If someone believed the child could not survive in Lallybroch, and if they had any suspicion of time travel, perhaps from family stories, unusual events, or hints passed down, it would not be unthinkable to try leading him to the stones. Another possibility is even simpler. Maybe Willie wasn't sick with smallpox at all. In a world without medical tests or official records, saying smallpox took him could easily hide another truth. Claiming a smallpox death instantly stops people from asking questions. No one would want to go near the house or handle the body. It becomes the perfect cover story for a disappearance. If the theory that William Henry Beauchamp is the same child is correct, the idea becomes even more compelling. A boy born from time-traveling parents, living in the wrong century, mysteriously dying without witnesses. All of this fits the pattern. Maybe Willie was taken to find his parents. Maybe he was sent forward to a time where he would survive. Maybe his disappearance was an attempt to protect him from something bigger than smallpox. If this were true, what would the story gain? It would not erase Jamie's grief. He would still have lost his brother. His trauma would remain real and untouched. But beneath that grief, the audience would discover a hidden connection. The boy Jamie mourned was the same boy Claire never knew she had as a brother. Two lives shaped by the same disappearance, one believing in death, the other believing in a simple childhood tragedy. This would deepen the emotional bond between Jamie and Claire in a way the show has never tried before. Their histories would intertwine long before they ever met, and the idea of fate, a major theme in Outlander, would grow even stronger. Of course, turning Willie into a time traveler would require major storytelling work. It would need at least one powerful flashback explaining who took him, why they kept the secret, and how the truth was lost for so many years. It would also need a reason his disappearance was never revealed within the Fraser family. Secrets this heavy rarely stay buried forever, but Outlander has shown a willingness to retcon parts of the story when it enriches character relationships. Claire's parents' story is a clear example. The reveal didn't break the world, it expanded it. Willie's story could do the same. So what should we make of all this? The smallpox story is believable, but strangely unconfirmed. The show avoids visualizing the moment. Jamie speaks of loss without describing the event. Outlander repeatedly uses death as a disguise for time travel. A child connected to time-traveling parents appears in the 18th century at the right time. All of these pieces align in a way that is difficult to ignore. Maybe Willie truly died of smallpox, or maybe he became one more person in Outlander's long list of the missing. A child who disappeared from one timeline only to reappear in another. The story has already given us every tool we need to explore that possibility, and now the question is yours. Does this theory fit what you believe about Outlander's world? Could Willie Fraser and William Henry Beauchamp be the same boy? And is it possible that Jamie's greatest childhood loss was never a death at all but a disappearance written into the very heart of time? If this idea resonates with you, keep following the threads. There are still unanswered questions about Willie, smallpox, and the final season of Outlander. And the story may still have surprises waiting for us, especially in the places the characters never thought to look. Thank you for staying through this deep dive into one of Outlander's most emotional mysteries. Until the next time we unravel another hidden corner of this remarkable story.